I don't think you really choose it. It's sort of either it's there or it's not. I guess my first recollection of being creative was in Greenville, South Carolina, Anderson, South Carolina, before Greenville, actually. I lived on a 500-acre farm, and we moved into this old dilapidated farmhouse that a family hadn't lived in for years. There were all these calendars from like the 30s and 40s, and we hung them all over this massive kitchen with a wood-burning stove. And I sat there one day when my grandmother had come from Florida to visit, and I drew the kitchen with the stove and the sink and the refrigerator and all the things, but then I drew the calendars on the walls, all the different pages from the calendars with the pictures of them. And I drew the pictures in pictures, and my grandmother said, "This is kind of odd. This kid is weird, really weird." And that's probably... And then I never just gave up on it. I tried a few times, but it kept coming back. So just in the last few days, I realized that I'm really an outsider artist, which means I don't have a formal education in art, although I've taken classes, and I'm not really taken in by institutions because they require degrees in fine art and they require certain criteria. And I had a family and a son to raise and a life to live, and I really didn't I spent time painting, but I gave most of my paintings away. They were gifts. So when I decided to take it seriously, I didn't have 20 years of background. I love where I'm at right now because there's a certain beautiful quality to people just buying your work and suddenly realizing, oh my God, you weren't classically trained anywhere. And I like that aspect because it means it's real, it's pretty authentic. The conduit is small. So this is my favorite part. My wife and I went to a book show, and they had a bunch of people that were dealing in ephemera and books and things, and you guys were playing outside. And as we were walking up, it's like sort of a Shell Rock drive, and you guys were under a coping playing, and I just went, wow, these are my people. It's a homespun, but done beautifully. It's sort of bluegrass, but more Americana. It has a feeling of where you want to be, like home. Like I felt this connection to you. So we sat and listened to you guys for a while, and when I came home, I just kept telling my wife, those guys are amazing. I think, my style of painting is sort of like their music. We're both trying to do the same things, just in different ways. Well, I've had friends that had bands, and I always hated their cover art. After talking to you guys and understanding that it was about a relationship between people, that there comes a time in people's lives where they have to make a choice, or they're in a situation where they can't make a choice, and they suddenly realize what's important to them, and they go, wow, this is so important to me. And if they live through this tumultuous sea, they're going to get all the rewards, and they won't take them for granted anymore. Like that whole essence of that is how I sort of came up with the artwork to put the boat in the roiling sea with the people on it who are sort of ambiguous, so that everyone can identify with, hey, and it could be anybody. That doesn't have to be like the person you're in love with, but like anybody in life that you're next to. You don't know their story. You don't know. They were so difficult to work for. I mean, absolutely no. I sent them, I think, 2 or 3 drafts, something small, just small renderings, and then they came back with, this is the one we like. And then I took that, and based on, they said, make it more stormy, or, and I said, okay, I can do that. So I made it a little more treacherous. Getting it down in the first bit was the most important part. I'm actually writing a book of poetry as we speak. I think that poetry has always been this balance for me. So when the well of painting fills up and it's overflowing, it's wonderful. But like writer's block, it happens and you just don't have what you need to paint. But another door opens, and then you suddenly see that you recognize how people are acting, or situations that are so profound, and then you write about them. It's the same thing as painting. You're just sort of releasing your experience through a different way. Yeah, I thought I was going to be a writer, and then I came back to painting, and I thought I was going to be a writer. I don't really think you have to choose. Thank God I'm old enough to know that now. I drove around the country for a year and a half in a travel trailer and just worked from state to state. That's how I met my wife. When I was in the Navy, I did portraits of other sailors' girlfriends or them to send home to their parents. And I could make extra cash that way, and I had a lot of time on my hands sometimes. And then when I got out, I did big graphite drawings. And then I never felt like I had what it took to mix colors and paint full-on paintings. Then I became a house painter, and then I got into faux finishing and then murals, and then I learned techniques for painting murals. And those techniques informed my painting. Then I became an abstract painter. I was trying to paint feeling through balance and color, but I couldn't paint a portrait in color, and I couldn't paint a landscape in color because I didn't have the confidence yet. It all comes as you learn, and so It took a while. So my current projects are you guys, number one. I'm also working on a residency in the Dry Tortugas, where my friend Carl Stovlin and I, he's a photographer, painter, filmmaker, will be on a deserted island for 30 days by ourselves. We take all our provisions and we document our surroundings, the creative process. To me, it's all about conservation and not having to conform to society's demands, because I can wake up, I can go fishing. I know that I have to produce whatever I need to eat that day, that morning, or I'm going to eat canned food. So I'm going to try to catch fish because I want to eat something nice. And then I'm going to spend the rest of my day painting and creating and drawing, and then cooking dinner, and then going to sleep, and then waking up the next morning. For 30 days, this is going to take me away from Facebook, Instagram, bills, mortgages, all the things that sort of pollute our lives, that we give too much time to. Never give up. Even if you have to start at the bottom and suffer indignity, you just don't give up. You just keep going. And even if you don't believe in yourself, sometimes you just have to keep going. So